BT Sport joined by Patrick Vieira in Istanbul ahead of Man City versus Inter Milan Champions League final. First of all, Patrick, thank you for joining us. I've got to go straight into it. How are you feeling ahead of the final, 24 hours removed?
Really good, really good. Thank you very much. I'm really pleased to be in Istanbul because it's a lovely city, it's a really good country, and to have the Champions League final here, and for me to be with Expedia to live that kind of experience, it's something quite really special. And I'm really looking forward to the game tomorrow because we have two teams who play the game in a different way, because of course you will have this Italian team who are quite really strong defensively, who are defending quite really deep, doesn't give too much space to the opposition team to express themselves, and quite really good going forward in a counter-attack. And then you have this kind of the City teams that we all know quite really well, who love to have the possession, who like to make the opposition team run a lot, and at the moment I believe is the best team in Europe.
So there's no doubting that Man City are probably the favourites going into Saturday night. But how do Inter win this game?
It will be a tough challenge for Inter because City is playing really well at the moment. So they will have to close the space between the line. They will have to be really disciplined, and they will have to take their chances. They will have to be really patient, and when they will have this kind of opportunity to really hurt City. And the Italians, they are quite really good in that. So it will be a really interesting game of football tactically tomorrow.
Obviously, you've played for both teams. You was at Inter, then straight to Man City. How has the culture changed at Man City, looking from the outside in now, as to when you was there in 2010 and then as part of the coaching staff?
I think under Mancini, under Pellegrini, and now under Pep, the club has been growing up year after year, and they are really dominant in the league. They won the league this year. They finished top against last year. They managed to win the FA Cup. They've been really consistent on the league competition, and today they are in the final of the Champions League. And again, if they manage to win the game tomorrow, they will go to a different level again. But it's been a really successful couple of years for this football club about how they grow on and off the field. I think today when we are mentioning the big clubs in Europe, you have to mention Manchester City.
Could you see that already happening when you was there?
I think when I was there, you and the clubs, the people work hard to get to where they are today. When I was there, they had a really good vision about how and what they want to achieve. They knew exactly what they wanted to do and how they're going to do it. But they give themselves the best chance to succeed because year after year they've been bringing top quality young players to develop the football club. They've been growing up as well as a football club off the field with the commercial deal that they were doing. And today they can compete on and off the field against any teams in Europe. They've been really successful in the Premier League, and now they are in the final of the Champions League. If they manage to win it again, they will be really difficult to stop for the years coming.
Obviously, you're a midfield legend, one of the greats to have ever played in that position. Now, at the moment, Gundogan is kind of operating on a level that's different to everyone else. Did you expect that he had that in his locker and is either the best midfielder in the world right now?
He will be there. I think when you mention the best midfielders at the moment, you will have to mention his name, but not just today. I think he's always been really good, and I think today he's scoring more goals and people seeing the quality and what he brings to City. But he's been playing really well for this football club, and Gundogan is the profile of a dream player for any manager, because there is kind of humility, hard work, togetherness, really good team spirit that manager love to have in the dressing room, and he's scoring really important goals for Manchester City at the moment. But he's a top player, and he's always been a top player.
If we switch back to Inter now, obviously I think they've taken quite a few by surprise by actually reaching the final. One, how do you think they've actually done it? And two, has it took you by surprise seeing them in this position?
No, not at all. I think it will surprise people who don't follow the Italian league. The Serie A is quite really competitive, and when you look at the last 14 games, they've been doing really well. That is a team that, when you look at the individual players that they have, with Lautaro Martinez up front, with Lukaku, with Edin Dzeko, they have quality up front. And in the midfielder with Barella, who is the engine, I would say, of the team, is the perfect profile to play in the Premier League, because he's quite the box-to-box players and he can score goals, he can create chances. They are quite. They've got good players in there, a lot of international players, and I think Inzaghi is doing a fantastic job because he makes them gel well together. This is a hard teams to play against because they are well disciplined. They accept not to have the possession. They can defend for 95 minutes if they have to, and this is a well-disciplined team.
Is Serie A underrated as a league?
I think it's underrated for people who doesn't know, who doesn't follow the Serie A. But the Serie A is a competitive league. They went through a really difficult period, but now I think they are back in the best. You can see Fiorentina in the final of the Conference League. You can see AC Milan, who was in the semi-final of the Champions League. I think the Italian football is getting back to its best.
Now, I was at the semi-final with San Siro. Absolutely amazing stadium, and Expedia is about bringing people to the games. Yeah. What's the best atmosphere you've played in?
Listen, I think it's. I will have to mention Liverpool is one of the best. I think AC Milan, like you mentioned, Inter, San Siro is quite a really special stadium, but Liverpool is for me the best atmosphere that I never experienced in my life.
What made it so special?
Is a communion between the players and the fans. You know, when they start to singing that you never work alone, it make it really special for the players, but that create a bubble, create a togetherness between fans and player, and I think that's give the extra motivation, I would say, to players to give even more, and that creates something really special for Liverpool Football Club.
If you could go back and relive one of those games, one of those experiences, what game are you choosing? Just for the atmosphere, not the result, not the how you played, just the atmosphere.
I think, with Arsenal going to Liverpool, where we had some difficult games, and the atmosphere where we always felt that we were in the top of them, but at the end they always find the energy to get back into the game, because the extra players was the fans. And that's why Anfield is quite a really difficult place to go to play, because the fans make it really difficult for any teams who are playing against them.
Now, before we wrap up, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about Erling Haaland.
Yeah.
How would you play against someone like Erling Haaland?
Listen, he's a top player. He's a guy that score goals in every team that he played for. And of course, when you play with City, with the number of chances that they create, you score more goals because of the way they play the game and this kind of quality that they have as a team. But Inter will make a massive mistakes if they only focus is on Haaland, because that will create more space for De Bruyne, it will create more space for Gundogan, and I'm sure Inzaghi will not going to make that mistakes. He will concentrate about the quality of the Manchester City team, how to stop the teams to develop their football.
It says a lot about Man City. I mentioned Gundogan, you mentioned Haaland. I didn't even think about De Bruyne.
Yeah, but that is what makes them so difficult to play against, because you're looking at the starting 11, you're looking at the players that they have on the bench. That is, I think that Pep and Manchester City managed to build one of the strongest team ever in football, and that is why they are so competitive, winning the league, winning the FA Cup, and today in the final of the Champions League, and they are really close of making history.
Man City now, or the Invincibles, and your Arsenal Invincibles? Better side.
I never liked to compare generation, because the games today was different from 10, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. But I think City are really close to be part of a really special generation, like Arsenal with the Invincible, or like United in '99 when they win the triple.
And finally, before we finish, I need a prediction for tomorrow night. Score prediction.
Listen, I will love to, but the best answer is not giving any answer.
Football's the winner then.
Football event, of course. And listen, Istanbul is a lovely city. There's a passion, there's a love for the games. The fans really looking forward to the final, and look at the atmosphere around here. and I'm sure fans will enjoy it the next 2-3 days.
Brilliant. Patrick, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you very much.